All right, here to do your VOD. What'd you say? Last time you coached me, I was Diamond. I finally achieved Master. Yo, congrats on Masters. My goal is to hit GM. I want to be hypercritical of every little mistake or slight misplay. I know I'll have to clean up little mistakes, so I want to get into the top 0.1% of players. I keep going bot 4, but it's hard for me to recognize what I'm doing wrong. I'm obviously doing something wrong if I'm going bot 4. I need some more experience eyes in my gameplay in order to learn what I need to improve upon. Hey, that's exactly what coaching is for. So I think this is a good spot. All right, Heimerdinger Portal. So it's Prismatic Prelude here. So I don't think Prismatic Prelude really changes your game plan that much. There's not really ways that you can play for it that much, just because, I mean, you can't really influence it that much early. Hodge, Warmog's, GS Academy items are like, nah, they're okay. They're not great. Love that you don't buy Lux until after combat starts. Beautiful. And then just buy out the shop here unless we're somehow making gold, which seems unlikely here. Beautiful. Loving it. Loving it. Lux 2 here. Probably feel the Moo pair. Yep, I think this is beautiful. And we want to hold on to Darius here. Okay, so you put the units that you want to hold on the right side. I usually put them on the left side. That's not, it's not a critique though. I think it's actually probably better to put them on the left if you're thinking about selling. And speaking of thinking about selling, I'm definitely considering selling this Cassiope here. I think I would just sell her. Why is your cursor so small? Oh, I guess maybe it's as big as mine, huh? I mean, I would just sell the Cassiopeia here, pick up Maddie pair plus powder. Yeah, it's just I don't value the Cassiopeia early game that much. It's pretty hard to play around Dominators early game, just because you need like a 2-cost in Ziggs or a 3-cost in Blitz. You can't even find a 3-cost right now, and your 2-cost odds are much worse, obviously, on level 3. And then playing around Black Rose is also similarly like tough to end up finding. You know, you need to find like a Vladimir who's a 2-cost. So like that's probably not happening either. But okay. But yeah, and Maddie pair is Maddie pair. There's a world where we make like Vow Slam, hold bow, and then you end up playing around Maddie pair. Hedge Fund, Bruiser Crown pumping up. I don't really love. I mean, I think the best of these three is easily pumping up. Hedge Fund is like, especially without like a bunch of gold to kind of get it kickstarted. And then Bruiser Crown is also like, especially like after the nerf to Mundo's HP scaling. Flexible, I don't really love either. It's like not that bad, but like you do kind of have to gamble your entire game. You reroll pumping up. I don't love this order of rerolling. I think you should rate pumping up a bit higher than Hedge Fund in this spot. I do think it's just a better augment. It's still really flexible. Like you can play this in basically any comp. So I would reroll Hedge Fund before pumping up, but you reroll both of these, and so now you're ended up with there's a cat on my lap scratching her head. So sorry if you hear that. You have Build-A-Bud now flexible and at what cost? This is pre-patch, huh? You sent this a few days ago, so I assume this was after the patch, but Build-A-Bud gives 10 gold now, right? So this is pre-patch. Okay, good to know. I would cost flexible Build-A-Bud. Don't really love any of these that much. I really liked the pumping up better, especially in your spot, right? I mean, I guess you have Lux too, which gives you like a decent bit to play around. So I guess that like leans you into at what cost. I don't think Build-A-Bud's like horrible, but probably at what cost in this spot. But yeah, I think I like the pumping up better. But okay, we pick up at what cost here. Definitely get the Darius in. Definitely want to fit like a Vander in as well. Gonna fit this guy in. Pit Fighter. I mean, I think if you're going to do this, I think this is fine, but you should field Vander over this. I'd also like to get Renata Glaskin if I can, but I don't think it's that realistic. I mean, I think this is just your board with Vander over Cassio, and probably hold Renata at that point. But yeah, I mean, just another Watcher is going to be good. Okay, and then items-wise here, you're considering the Shift Slam. I think this is perfectly fine if you think that like the fight is going to be close. This fight, I think you're fine not slamming Shiv versus, but yeah, I would definitely consider the Shiv slam if you fight somebody strong. You are at what cost, so like your odds of getting wrecked aren't that high, so I think it's okay. It's got the lobby. What's that guy's Wandering Trainer? I think it was already dead at that point, right? When you scouted it? Yeah. I mean, I would definitely want to scout what that guy's Wandering Trainer is, because that will affect what's going on in this game. You have Ziggs and Team Planner, which is interesting, I guess. This board, I don't love it. I don't love what we got going on here. So Dominators don't really do that much on your board right now. You're kind of good damage-wise. You have the Lux too, and you can play around that. What I would say is just like, if you're going to play a damage trait, I think it needs to be one that augments Lux in the spot. Like obviously Sorcerer, we don't have it right now, but something to think about later. And so yeah, I just don't really love this setup. I mean, I do think you're always playing Draven, Darius, and then you're always playing Vander with that, and then you're always playing Lux because she's your 2-star. But I like a lot better just cut. play Trist, play a Mumu, probably play just a Mumu. It probably is Trist because the attack speed is so valuable, especially in all these units. So just a Mumu Trist here, I like a lot better, and then hold on to the Nocturne potentially. Because yeah, we end up cutting Conqueror just to play the Dominators pair. I don't love it. I don't really love it just because yeah, like Dominators are good and all, but I think you lose out on a lot of value. Like Lux is going to be doing the majority of our damage. Like this was a pretty quick fight, so it was at least a little close, but yeah. And you hold a Kali pair here. With the idea of what? I think I would have rather held, I mean, you end up selling like Draven, Vi. I mean, the thing is you're going to win a lot of these fights regardless. So I actually really liked keeping Conqueror in because like a fight like this, you're always going to win. So getting, farming 3 Conqueror stacks will be fantastic for your ability to just push like really, really fast levels down the line. So yeah, I don't love the board right now. I think we could have been playing something better. What's the worth for weight? Priz Pipeline. You scout it. Ziggs, worth the weight Ziggs. Okay. That also makes you, I think, really like less interested in holding on to a lot of this Automata stuff. Oh, I mean, Nami's got to come in over that. Perfect. And then you could just fit Sentinel on this board over the Doms. Like, I think this is fine. I would cut the Dominators here. Yeah, and my other problem with playing the Dominators here is like our front line is kind of trash garbage now. Like our front line is nothing at this point. So yeah, I don't really like that idea. I think you're leaning really heavily into playing Dominators here, which I mean with these items, I don't mind it. Especially on like what was last patch where like, it's a very solid AP option, but I don't think you need to like I think you're making your board weaker than you should be in this spot. That is a Cassiopeia with Belt if you can get it, though. If you get that, then your Dominator spot becomes a lot better. You do a good flex here, or a good scout here, so let's look at all this stuff. So a lot of Prismatic Pipelines, actually, which is going to be good for you. You get to win a bunch of fights. Ziggs, this guy kind of can play whatever. This guy, Black Rose Rebel Scrap. We'll see what they end up in. Could be anything, really. They've slammed a Morello's. So it could be any of these three. It's probably Black Rose or Rebel based on last patch, and because they have a Vex to it's probably the Black Rose, but okay. Your slams here are pretty tragic. You can just take Gargoyle. I think this is probably your best bet here is just take this and think about making Gargoyle. Is there a way like you'd love to fit like this plus a Mumu? Rel. You don't have 4 Sentinel yet, right? Yeah, okay. I mean, I guess like once again, I still don't love these Dominators, but I mean you're consistent, if anything. So we're going to keep this current board going for now, which I think is, yeah, like I said, not amazing. I think you should be really open to slamming Gargoyle here. It's not the best item, but it is the best item when you're trying to streak. So like if you're afraid of a fight here, you can make it, adaptive with bow. Interesting. I don't completely love it. It gets rid of one of your front, like, because before we had 2 frontline, 2 backline components. Like we actually have our components really, really nicely balanced out. Now we have 3 backline, 1 frontline, which just makes things more awkward. I mean, it gets rid of your, but like, I guess my other point is that like, or my other thought immediately, and we pick up Academy here. I think this is great. And now we're finally getting out of the Dominators. Okay. And you, for Sentinel here over Sork. Yeah, I think this is correct. But yeah, if you were thinking potentially of playing Dominators, which I thought was what you were thinking, then like you want Shojin a lot more than adaptive because you want the kind of like attack speed scaling with the other thing with you want Shojin Nashers, basically. I don't know why my brain can't translate that into English. But yeah, you want Shojin Nashers, and you can't really get Shojin Nashers now because you made Adaptive Helm. It's just like a worse attacks or a worth mana gen item in this comp. Making Adaptive makes me almost think of like, I mean, it's really, like there's no comp that Adaptive is like ideal in, and like you kind of went out of your way to build it, which I don't know, surprises me. I mean, it's not a bad item when you have to make it, but like I don't feel that we really had to make it here. Wow, you were really, really rich here. Can we get a slam here at least? Ooh. Interesting. Very interesting. I mean, definitely level for Nami here. 1 trillion%. Yep, I love that. You can hold on to the Vladimir as well. Make Steadfast Heart. Here, he holds Sword open here. I mean, so there's kind of, I don't know, there's a lot of potential options here. It's not unreasonable to actually play just AD from this setup here. You have either LW or IE and then bow open. And then, you could just play, I mean, your most straightforward option from this spot is probably just Sentinel Academy here. And if you're going to do that, you have like IE for Ezreal. You have the Steadfast Heart as well, which I guess is what you're looking at in the spot here, which I don't completely mind IE over Steadfast Heart here. I mean, in the same way, because we made adaptive, you kind of have to make probably steadfast. Okay, I don't completely mind it. You should be really open to a GS slam here, actually, because like a third item onto this Lux is fantastic, and we've already made a mana gen item, so the sword is like not that open for Shojin. So like if you fight somebody strong here, I would 1,000,000,000% slam Giant Slayer. But let's see. I mean, this guy, zero combat augment. I mean, yeah. And meta TFT gives us a 99% win chance, which I don't really trust, but you know, it's whatever. And yeah, at this point, you're like, okay, I'm going to play Academy from this spot, which I think is quite reasonable. Yeah, I mean, I think overall, like I said, that other slam I wasn't the biggest fan of, but I mean, mana flow's not amazing, but it's not bad. And then you just hold the Leona here. I mean, we're not going to level in this spot. So yeah, I mean, just keep chilling this stage. Keep that GS slam. Like, I want you to be like hovering that GS slam. Like, I want you to be so open to slamming this GS, because if you're not, I think you're crazy. But also, I mean, most of these boards that we're fighting are pretty darn weak. Okay, that guy with Trist 2 is like a little bit scary. I think you should definitely slam GS if you fight the Trist 2 guy. Who did we fight? I mean, we fought this guy. This guy's Chem Baron, so no need to slam versus him. We're just going to wreck him. Is there anything you want to hold in this spot? I think your holds are pretty reasonable here. Yeah, I think your holds are pretty reasonable here. Like maybe Blitz, but I mean, I love that you hold this Camille. I actually love that. I mean, you're never going to play it, but what if? I mean, that is just like, you actually like, oh my God, you actually like take feedback and, this is something that I yap to like every student about, and then most people just don't do it, but you actually like do it, which is crazy. So I love that. GS Slam here. I mean, this gives a 3% win chance. I don't think it's that low. I'm kind of surprised it's that low in this spot here. This guy's board looks like solid to me, but not that good. It is a little bit scary, the Maddie positioning. Why does it give us 3% win chance? I feel like this is scaring me way more than it should. But I mean, you can use the meta TFT thing and say like, okay, if it's given us 3% win chance, I'll make the GS slam. I mean, this ends up being you end up losing this fight. Wow, it's like this guy's just level 6. I mean, it's like this item is really, really broken on Elise is the idea. You're pretty clumped for Elise, the Maddie here. 2 Enforcer, the Ambessa in as well. I'm surprised that this fight's actually that bad, but I mean, I guess it's really just the value of this onto Elise, these items onto Maddie, really good. But okay, so I mean, certainly after watching the fight and like looking at the 3% win chance, just slam the GS here, because this was a pretty close fight. And I think like had we slammed GS and I mean, that's actually not even that good of an Elise ult. I guess our board, like, I am probably overestimating our board a bit just because we've won a lot of fights for free. But, you know, imagine we slam GS and we end up winning this fight. I think, like, these fights are very, very swingy with the Maddie. Like, it's actually quite reasonable that a third item there would win us the fight. And obviously, that would be really, really big for us. So, yeah, I think it's a miss to not slam GS there. Just take tank item component here. I mean, Rod's not bad either. Chain. No. I don't really love Bow here. I guess it's red buff is your out. Also Camille too is pretty sad that we kind of got forced to make that there. Yeah, I guess your idea is that it's red buff here. This is our pivot. Is this board actually stronger? I don't really think it is. I mean, I don't know. 3 Black Rose is okay. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not that excited for this. I mean, I guess you have Warmogs coming down the line. My problem with making red buff here instead of taking tank component is that like if you get damage items here off wolves, you're actually just going to be you're just not going to have tank items this game. You have 1 Warmogs coming, but I would much rather just have like triple item Malawi and have my heal cut be a little bit more uncertain than you know this spot here where like our heal cut is confirmed, but we might just never have a tank. You know, heal cut is necessary in some matchups. Every matchup you're gonna need a tank. You know, so it's just how I would kind of think about it. But you also still keep the bow open for something like a red buff. You just don't confirm it right now. That also keeps bow open for static shiv, and like had you taken cloak or something, that cloak could also be like spark or something. You can be like spark red buff eventually. So yeah, we end up losing the last 3 fights. Perfectly fine in our spot. I mean, we're super, super rich. We're going to go like the earliest 4-1 of all time, pick up Ezreal 2, which is fantastic here. You need to hit 6 Sentinel on this roll down. You probably, you'd like a lot to be Heimerdinger 2 here, or pick up like a Jace and get like a Deep Academy setup. There's Heimer. Okay, let's just see when you stop, okay? Because like this is all going good so far. I don't actually think your board's stable yet. Corky pair, Heimer pair. You need to keep rolling. Jace is really, really nice. But yeah, I mean, if you want to play Jace, then we should have held Lux and played the 5 Academy for Sentinel, because like if you're gonna like the only way to play Jace is to do that essentially. I guess you can do this version, but I mean, yeah, 5 Academy I think is better than just getting an artillerist here. But okay, this ends up being our setup here. All right, let's look at items. Warmogs is an Academy item. I'm pretty surprised you don't actually just make a Warmogs here. You end up going for Nashers. I feel like Nashers is overrated on Heimer. I don't know. Like maybe I'm crazy. And like if we just do like Heimerdinger and just go to items, like I've always been underwhelmed when I found Nashers. I mean, it's slightly negative delta. I mean, worse than stuff like Blue Buff Archangels and things like that. Worse than Gunblade. I mean, worse than like a lot of stuff statistically. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like mana item. Yeah, I feel like just mana item, especially like adaptive Nashor is really awkward once again because you don't get that benefit of like the attack speed being on the Heimerdinger. And yeah, I just feel like your Heimer ends up doing too little damage if you go like adaptive Nashors here. Like my slams in the spot here, we already have red buff made. You probably are forced to make a GS here, else your items are going to be really awkward. I guess you have Shiv. Which wouldn't be like horrible. But I think just second Warmogs here, especially with the potential of playing like, had we held Lux 5 Academy here would be nice. But yeah, like second Warmogs here, GS adaptive, throw those into Heimer, probably throw a Hodge onto Heimer as well. Maybe just make static Shiv. Maybe move one of those items to Ezreal and then just go static Shiv. Or no, you're making GS, so we can't. Oh, I mean, you have GS Shojin, right? Yeah, it's not amazing, but yeah, it's just that, right? Warmogs, GS Shojin. Beautiful. Okay, I think those are the slams for sure here. And then some of those items can go into Jace. Like you probably split the mana gen items. You go Deathblade, Redemption. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like I don't really like really like building something like a Deathblade. Oh, that's really interesting. I mean, there's nothing you could really have done to prevent this other than not play Rebel this round, which I don't think is that reasonable because it makes your board a lot weaker. That's interesting, though. Okay. I mean, it gives you a JG and a Kali. I mean, you can do this. I mean, eventually you want to get back to Zoe, which is rough. I think you probably are supposed to stop rolling. Yeah, I think this is a pretty significant overall. I think once you hit Loris, too, and especially like, I don't know, Irelia 2 is not that big, but I think once you hit both of these, you're actually meant to stop rolling here. Because our only pair here is Heimerdinger, which is an important pair. I won't take away from that, but, you know, he's not like, yeah, I mean, that's like the only real pair that we're rolling for here, like Jace 2, but like you're not going to hit Jace 2 here. This is also like weird that we have our items on Jace. I mean, you can just move the items over to Ezreal here. But like, especially because we're going to be playing for 5 Rebel now. I mean, this is your board, and like, it's actually not that bad. But I do think there's a pretty significant overall when you don't have much that you're actually rolling for in this spot. I guess you have the, when did you get, yeah, you continue, when did you pick up the second Zoe? You pick it here when you continue to roll down. But yeah, I'm pretty sure you just stop at Loris here and then econ back up. You're 78 HP. Like, I think you're, like, the big thing is that, yeah, we're down an econ, or we're down a prismatic augment in that we took at what cost. And we should 1 trillion move items over to Ezreal here. I just move all the Jace items over. I think you'd be fine with that. But yeah. Wow, what an interesting spot. I mean, this is what Outwit cost does to you. Good fight. Wow, very close. Yeah, Jace 7.5k, Ezreal 2k. Yeah, I mean, I think Ezreal's just going to be doing more with 5 Rebel in. Jace did good work that fight, though. But okay, you're just going to continue to kind of like roll it to 0 every round. Yeah, I mean, this is better than Loris. It's visionary. I think you can do this for sure. Yeah, I mean, I think your thought process is that you can do exactly like this. I think that's perfectly fine. And then Rebel, yeah, beautiful. Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah, the items aren't exactly where I'd want them, but it's not the end of the world. But yeah, I mean, your spot's just a bit awkward now. I mean, you can play this board for a while. The second you find Jinx, you're going to want to get into 7 Rebel, which is probably going to just mean that we're going to have to cut out some of this Academy stuff, right? Yeah, I mean, we're just going to have to. And then maybe like on 9, we can get Jace back in or something. That seems fine, actually. Carousel here. We have... I mean, there's Boa Rod. I mean, I think I would have taken Rod here with the idea that it can be... I mean, what are we're missing? Because we didn't make that Shiv idea, we have... Okay, now you move items over. Beautiful. Once again, items should be on Ezreal. I'm not sure why they're not right now, but you know, overall, this is okay. You can move the Hodge and Warmogs there. I mean, I would definitely keep the... I think I'd keep the items where they are. I mean, he's not getting the like academy bonus for being an academy unit. You're losing that academy bonus onto both Jace and onto Leona. Yeah, I think you actually made your board a little bit weaker here. Oh, don't buy this rel. Sell this rel. Sell this rel. We have anomaly coming up. We need as much gold as possible here. It's not 1,000 cuts. I'll tell you that for free. Thornskin. Yuck. You want to anomalize Zoe here, I would say, for sure, tempo-wise. I don't think so. I mean, I get the idea is that, you know, he's an AP tank. It's kind of cool, and you're playing for Sentinel. My problem is because of how deep we rolled, we are giga stuck on level 8, and anomalizing a Rumble 1 for the rest of our game is not it. Yeah, I mean, I think you really just have to roll there for your Zoe Anomaly, and worst case, throw it onto a Lowy. I don't see what world we hit a Rumble 2 here, unless you're the biggest high roller of all time. But we're just not going to find Rumble 2, like, soon at all, which means that we are just almost playing down an Anomaly for a lot of these fights, just because a 1-star 5 cost is obviously way worse than like a 2-star 4 cost. So, yeah, this is pretty rough, I would say. Okay. Fight this Chem Baron guy. I didn't see actually how big their cash out was. This is Spearclose, by the way. I just know this name. I know he definitely like final dayed. He like top 8'd a cup like a few sets ago. I remember I did a video VOD reviewing him. So cool that he's in your game. There's the Jinx. This is where I think the train kind of leaves the station, and you're probably just supposed to pivot into 7 Rebel. Yeah, I mean, you should. I think you just ditch the Heimer Jace. You could even hold the Jace on bench for your level 9, but once again, like, well, level 9, it's so far away. Yeah, you actually natural Jinx on. Oh, you missed the Jinx. I mean, that's tragic. I mean, yeah, you have to do this. Okay. I mean, yeah, this spot is just super awkward. Take Rod here with the idea of going JG Hodge. That's pretty cool. I like it. I mean, the other option was like LW. But I mean, I think especially because we anomalized Rumble, this makes perfect sense, and we get the Warmogs back onto the main tank, which is kind of where I wanted it in the first place. But okay, I mean, yeah, you're just in a really desperate spot now. Because like theoretically, like had we played a little bit more safe with our econ, we could have then like looked at actually pushing level here or rolling a bit for Alawi to an actually pushing level. But like you're now in this spot here where we don't actually have a 2-star Alawi. You're forced to, because you're low, roll down for 2-star Alawi. But now, I mean, look what happens. We're stuck here on level 8 the whole game. We're never finding Rumble 2 unless we high roll. And if we do, I mean, congrats. But like it is a high roll, certainly, to find Rumble 2 here, and we're weaker than most people. So, yeah, I think we really mismanaged our econ last stage. You move items over to the Alawi now. Yeah, you just were too slow last round, but, I mean, definitely are meant to move items over. You're also frontlining the JSEX, which is, I mean, perfectly correct in previous patch. I mean, your best bet here is you take an okay loss. This Steamhope player loses, Zimbo wins, and then you get a Rumble 2 off Carousel. Or a Jace 2 off Carousel. And if you get either one of those, you actually have pretty good odds this game of like going 4th probably. Better than that, it's going to be kind of tough just because, yeah, your board's kind of weak compared to the rest of the lobby. Rumble, good damage though. All right. Neither on Carousel, and you out 1, so we're not hitting it either way. Jace at him here. Guardbreaker looks pretty reasonable. You already have heal cuts, you don't need that. Could take Even Shroud, but I like Guardbreaker better here. Yeah, I think this is perfect. And then we just move the bow over to like Ezreal or something. But yeah, okay. So this is the spot that you're in. Like I said, I don't love the spot that we're in. You have like nothing to roll for, but you also can't really go 9 in this spot. I mean, your best bet is probably just to roll every round and hope that you high roll a 5 cost, or like worst case, maybe you find a random high rating or 2 that doesn't do much. But like your board can't really make it to 9 this game. You're just too like behind tempo, I would say. You know what I mean? Like you should have had this board like a lot sooner, but because we overrolled earlier, like it's too hard for you to get there. Swain in here. Form Swapper Sorcerer over 4 Academy. Do I buy that it's stronger? Not really. We lose a whole Warmogs onto Alawi for this. That does not look right to me at all. Lose Warmogs onto Alawi for Sork, which like 2 Sork, I mean, it's a trait, sure, but it's not that good. And then like you do have the items onto Jace, so Form Swapper is kind of nice, but you're also like, you don't need the damage the like increased damage that much just because you already have it from Guard Breaker. So yeah, I don't love this. I think it is just still Heimerdinger on this board. I mean, it's a little bit tragic. I mean, what you really want is Lux, right? Then you get Sork in, and you get to keep everything. I don't. Did we skip a Lux at this point? If we did, like, it should definitely be Lux here. I mean, we can see on this roll down, I guess. Heimer 2 definitely better. I would definitely do this. Take it, take it. Okay. Yeah, I mean, there are Luxes, but I do think when you hit Heimer 2, you probably just play him as a 2-star unit, and if you can get, like, I don't know, a TG for Heimer, that's not that bad. No TG. Only item Gunblade is so bad, but I mean, I think like ideally you're probably supposed to move like Gunblade to Jace and go like Guardbreaker or something. Okay, and then yeah, we end up dying here just because we're way behind curve. Yeah, I mean, I think like the biggest mistake this game is how we played stage 4. I think it was a colossal overroll the second that we found, like I said, the second that you hit Loris too, you should have stopped. And I know that you felt kind of desperate because you were playing. Well, I don't know, but I assume you felt kind of desperate because we were playing at what cost, and you know, okay, I'm down in Prismatic. I have to be strong this stage because I'm going to cap artificially lower. But you cap yourself like even way more artificially lower by not allowing yourself to push 9. Like the way this augment plays is that you're supposed to spike and then like push 9. But like, yeah, I think you just have to trust that your board is good enough here the second you hit Loris 2 and realize that we actually have a lot of frontline to work with. And we have a lot of backline here. We have this Ezreal too, which you also didn't play around this entire stage, which I think was a really big mistake as well. Moving these Jace items over to Ezreal, who's benefiting from 5 Rebel, from 4 Academy, and he's in Ezreal too, would do you so much better. So look, you sit here 20 gold, you econ up the rest of the stage. What probably ends up happening is you econ up Stage 5 comes around, you're like 60, 70 gold. You can either light roll on 8 to try to find a Lowy 2 and then push 9 from there, or you can just push 9 and try to find a Lowy 2 depending on how many Lowies are out of the pool and also just how your HP is looking. But because we overroll so much here and because we don't play around our strongest board, you just like, you're in a great spot here. Like, I think the Rebel Emblem is pretty awkward to play around, but I think your spot here is fantastic. 78 HP, pretty rich. Well, you were pretty rich before we like roll it down, but like 78 HP with like a relatively expensive board with like a decent number of 2 stars, like is fine. But I think you kind of like over exaggerate in your head how weak the board is, and that puts you in like a really, really, really awkward spot. But yeah, I mean, I think this is a fantastic VOD to review. Really like non-standard game to play around. Like I said as well, like the second that you're hitting, like it's probably unreasonable to expect you to hold on to this Jinx here, but that other Jinx that we found, like end of this stage, you should definitely be considering just pivoting to 7 Rebel. It's fine. Like I know it feels bad to drop out of Academy. I understand, but like I think it's fine. Or even I mean, you can't really drop out of Sentinel. Like I'm not dropping this stuff, but I think it's perfectly reasonable for our setup to just be cut, play 7 Rebel, and then level up, add Jace back in, get Academy back in, and feel really good about our spot. I think that makes a lot of sense. But okay, really, really cool VOD to review. I mean, I definitely, like I said, I like a lot of the, like how clean you're being with like units that you're holding and that kind of stuff. I think that is like a really good sign of the work that you're putting in. And obviously it's paying off because you hit Masters. So congrats on that. And yeah, I guess I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.